most dangerous thing in trucking in 2026 isn't winter driving, and it isn't bad brakes, it's the pen you use to sign a lease purchase. Because that no money down up to $8,000 a week gross deal can turn into a negative settlement, minus $247 even when you're running hard. And that's the part nobody puts in the recruiting video. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the exact math, fixed costs, fuel, and the fees that quietly eat your week, so you can see why a good week still leaves drivers broke, and how one bad week can flip your settlement from profit to debt overnight. Here's the rule. If you don't know your cost per mile before you sign, you're not upgrading your life. You're upgrading your problems. Stay with me, because once you see these line items, you'll never look at $8,000 gross the same way again. Let's start with the phrase that hooks everybody: no money down. When a company tells you that, they're not exactly lying. You probably won't write a check on day one. You won't swipe your card. You sign some papers, grab a truck, and for a moment it feels like you just leveled up in life. But that no money down doesn't disappear. It just turns into a weekly bill you don't really notice until your first settlements start coming in. Here's what usually happens behind the scenes. The carrier fronts a down payment for you, maybe $5,000 to $8,000. Instead of paying that today, they spread it across your first year or more. Now you're paying an extra $100 to $150 a week on top of your regular truck payment, insurance, escrow, and program fees. Add interest on that amount, and that $5,000 you didn't pay can easily become $6,000 or $7,000. Then stack your actual truck payment, maybe $650 to $850 a week, plus $250 to $400 for insurance, plus $150 to $200 for maintenance escrow. Before you turn a wheel, you're already at $1,200 to $1,600 a week that has to be paid, whether freight is good or garbage, before fuel, before tolls, before anything for your family. That's the part they don't say when they're smiling across the desk, circling that $8,000 gross number. You're starting every week in a hole. If that already feels uncomfortable, good, because now we're going to put real numbers on what a good week and a bad week actually look like. Let's run the numbers on a so-called good lease week. You're leased on and have a solid week, 2,500 miles. At $1.50 all in, that's $3,750 gross. The screenshot everyone shows on TikTok. Now here's the part nobody posts. From that gross, subtract your fixed costs, $750 for the truck payment, $300 for insurance, $175 for maintenance, and $125 for the no money down payback. That's $1,350 gone before fuel. At 6 miles per gallon, 2,500 miles is about 416 gallons. At $3.50 a gallon, that's roughly 1,456 in fuel. Add around $75 for tolls and MISC. Total expenses about $2,881, $3,750 gross minus. That leaves roughly $869 for the week before taxes, health insurance, rent, food, or anything your family needs. On paper, you're making $4,000. In reality, it's under $1,000 on a good week. Let's talk about the costs that never show up on the recruiting spreadsheet, but hit your bank account every week. Deadhead miles are the first punch. Drive 200 miles empty and nobody's paying you $1.50 a mile. But your fuel burn is real. If 10 to 15% of your miles are deadhead, you're losing a couple $100 a week with zero revenue. Detention is another drain. Many lease programs don't pay it, or pay so little it's a joke. You sit 4 or 6 hours at a shipper, wasting time and maybe idling, and your freedom as a lease operator suddenly feels like working for free. Factoring chips away too. If the carrier takes 3 to 5% off the top, that $3,750 gross shrinks before you ever see it. Then comes dispatch and load boards. No forced dispatch sounds good until you refuse a cheap load and end up sitting. Load boards offer freedom, but when rates are $1, $20, 120, 110, 90 cents. You're just choosing how much money you want to lose. And maintenance. That escrow isn't a safety net. It's your own money held in their account, and it melts fast when a turbo blows or you need tires. If the repair goes over what's in escrow, you pay the difference. All of this adds up. None of it is on the flyer, but it's all on your settlement. If this is giving you clarity, stick around and subscribe if you want more trucking math without the hype. Lease purchase isn't always a scam. Some drivers make it work, but only with the right foundation. It works when you've been driving a few years and understand lanes, seasons, and how freight really moves. It works when you know your cost per mile to the penny and you're not scared of numbers. It works when you have 10 to 15,000 saved as a real cushion, and it works when the contract has fair payments, realistic insurance, no junk fees, and you can reliably run 2,500 miles or more. But lease purchase does not work when you're new, broke, or hoping your first settlement pays your rent. It doesn't work if you don't understand the difference between gross and net. And it definitely doesn't work when the contract says $400 a week for insurance, $200 in fees, plus factoring, all while freight is slow and you're sitting days between loads. Drivers jump from a $60,000 company job thinking they'll hit six figures. A year later, many return broke, stressed, and in debt. Not because they're lazy, but because the math never worked. If hearing this makes you realize you're not ready yet, that's not failure, it's a warning. Build your foundation first and subscribe if you want more real-world trucking breakdowns that actually protect your wallet. Here's the bottom line. Lease purchase isn't a dream or a shortcut. It's a business model that pushes most of the risk onto you, and if you don't treat it like a real business, if you don't understand every cost tied to that truck, that risk will swallow you fast. Before you sign anything, step away from the recruiter and run the numbers yourself. Take their promised gross and subtract the real truck payment, insurance, escrow, the financed down payment, fuel, tolls, factoring, and taxes. Look at what's actually left. Then ask yourself, is that amount worth the stress of being the one who pays when freight slows down? If the answer is no, that's not failure, that's clarity. If you want more videos breaking down real trucking money, real costs, and the risks nobody else wants to show, subscribe to Proud Truck Driver. We drop new videos every week to help you protect your wallet and your sanity. Share your lease purchase experience in the comments, good or bad. Your story might be the reality check another driver needs. And remember, there's zero shame in staying a company driver if that's what keeps you stable. The smartest move is the one that lets you sleep at night